Hello friends, welcome to the latest content of my developer series blog, a ride management application designed for trucks or service vehicles. So if you recall in this series, the very first video, I have shown you a quick demonstration of this application. We also walk through the data flow we are going to build in this application. In the second video, I have shown you how to create the UIX, your default, routes, data models, error validation, spinners and custom messages, etc. In the third video, I've shown you how to implement the dark mode and light mode functionality. And at the same time, in next video, I've shown you how you can make your application multilingual. Okay, in the last video, we covered a very advanced topic called how to work with images or files in your application. In today's video, we are going to be very specific and we are going to talk about the CRUD operation. Now, as you can see in the very beginning, when we are writing the authentication code, I've shown you a quick demonstration of how to quickly work on the CRUD operations when you are during the development. So the code you are seeing in this screen. So for example, you are just calling a collection on the backend and you are doing a data.save on that collection. It works pretty okay. Now this is okay to work from the development perspective, but when you go to the production, please never ever call backend API directly. Either you should always use the backend cloud functions as much as you can. So this is exactly what we are going to set up in this today's video today. In today's video, the content is a little bit more theoretical, but we are going to cover some advanced topic like how to properly set up security on your backend. In today's video, we are going to talk about CLP, ACP, role and row level security and how to properly do the CRUD operation on your backend. So basically, this is PAR's framework approach to handle row and role level security, but it pretty much applies on any other backend application because the fundamentals remains the same. So we are going to specifically talk about CLP, ACP and cloud functions, and we are going to cover the security design pattern. So again, this is just a design pattern, how you are laying out the structure of your security across your application. So by default, PARS delivers three different classes: users, roles and sessions. So user is again the user class. So this user class is when you sign up, it secures, like it knows who you are. Session is it just captures your current access session, and role is what you can or cannot do. Class level permissions, think about CLP as a table level design in a database, and ACL is actually object level. So rows inside the tables are ACL. So we are going to again talk about what is access control relation, what is class level permission in detail. But think about again just from the mindset, whenever a user try to access your data, first thing it checks is CLP, that whether you can or cannot access this table or not. If you cannot, it goes back. Now, if you can access that table, it goes to the another loop, say ACL, access control list, that whether that particular record you are trying to access in that table, whether you have access to the record or not. If not, then it goes and retrieve the data and send it to you. And if not, then it just throws an error that you cannot access this particular record. So that's what pretty much ACL is. So let's go, we'll first start with the CLP first. Okay, so what is CLP? In very simple terms, think about CLP as a class level permission, whether you can or cannot access a table at the table level itself. So if you in SQL database, if you say select a star from this table, it's going to throw an error that you cannot see this table. So basically, let's go to and that's exactly what we are going to implement. So let's go to your backend. I'm going to go to the PARS dashboard here. Now, before we update any collections or any table level design, let's just talk about the overall app settings. So first of all, if you go to your app settings, you will see some settings like master key and those kind of a thing. So let's just talk about that. So if you go to the app settings as security and keys, never ever share anything or hard code any of these values into your application. So let's go to app settings, core settings. So inside that settings, you will see that there is something called edit details. If you click on that edit details, you will see a master key there. Again, do not share this master key with anyone anyone inside or outside your application. There's a button, there's a checkbox called allow client creation. You want to disable that. The reason you want to disable that, because you are saying, hey, nobody can come to my database and create a class. That means you are unauthenticating prohibiting any user to create any table. Second thing, what you want to do now, let's go inside that table. if you click on that those menu items and say pop menu security and go to the advanced security, there's a button from, first of all, you switch from simple to advanced. Now here we are dealing with that user class itself. This is a very special class. Hey, only in this class, only and only in this class, you want to check two buttons, check two check boxes, say get and create. The reason I'm saying user can, retrieve their own information and user can create their own information. There are a few exceptions. So for example, we'll talk about the roles. You want to create a role called admin. So in this case, I can create a role. Again, go to this role class. Nobody can create the role except you are an admin. Okay. So as you can see, everything is disabled here, but only an admin can create a role. Okay. Now, then once you have done that, you can create as many roles as you want, of course. Now, if you see, the role is actually the delivered class. So let's try adding one. And now, let me try, so for example, user is a special, user and role is special class. So as you can see, I created a role is called admin, and there is a, two columns which called user, and user is actually a special column because it's a pointer. So if you click on that user pointer, it goes back and it lets you attach the existing user to an admin. So basically what you are doing, you are saying, okay, these two users are admin. So that's how you can always create a GUI application later on. But this is quickly, first time when you want to create that, you want to create a role and assign users to that particular role. All right. So again, so just to recap, in role, there is a special field called user, which is a pointer to the user class. All right. And likewise, you can create as many roles as you want. So for example, employee is a role, or HR is a role, admin is a role, driver is a role. So let's go back to our blog here. So if you remember, like initially we said, okay, there are 5 different roles we want to create: admin, customer, driver, employee, company. And then once you create the roles, then you go back to your user pointer and attach those users which you want to, to appropriate roles or whatever you want to do. Again, you can create a GUI later on, but this is the fundamental, this is how you fundamentally associate roles to those particular users. All right. So now I think that's pretty much it from the roles perspective. Now let's go talk about one particular class, say settings. So settings is a table, is a collection, is a document collection. Here, as you can see, nobody can see anything. I blocked out everything. Only admin is a special case, but otherwise, see, nobody can do anything here. So even users, for example, as a user, I want to update my own settings. How do I do that? So even first of all, I want to disable everything here, regardless, like, and next thing what I want to do here. So when you are creating that particular settings class, you can always add a column which is pointer to the user column, and that's exactly what we are going to do. And you will see that later on how it pays off. But in the settings collection, okay, let's go to the settings collection, create a column. So for example, you're creating a new class here. So this is how you create a new class. Always create a custom and protected class, and please uncheck that. But so by default, when you're first time creating a class, do not check this box. So that means nobody will have any access to anything. And then later on, simply what you want to do, you want to create a column in all of those classes, and that column is a pointer. So let me show you what that pointer is. So here you say pointer. Okay, choose that pointer, and that pointer is actually, what is that pointer? It's a user. Okay, so that's how you will know that, okay, in that particular row, who owns that row. So that's how you will control which user can access which record. So that means as a user, I want to access only read and update my own record. So that's how you implement that functionality. So again, this is the same fundamentals we are going to apply everywhere in application. So just pay attention to 3 different things: user class, role class, and all other classes what you're going to create. So this is how I'm going to set it up. And in next videos, what we are going to do, we are going to write the cloud function, so which deals with the cloud function. So again, we are using CLPs everywhere. We are disabling everything. We are using ACPs minimally only on the user class. Otherwise, we are not using ACPs. That means access control. We are using cloud function instead. Okay. So, I think that's pretty much it. Now let's go focus back on CRUD operation. So this is the last time when we wrote the CRUD operation. This is how we wrote it. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go back to our application and we are going to refactor this code. All right, that's all I wanted to cover in this video today. So please stay tuned, and if you have any issues, please feel free to open a issue log at my GitHub repository, and I'll be happy to help you out. Thank you.